Companies can take a holistic look at their infrastructure and take steps to ensure that they are prepared. This can start off fairly simply, because initially what you need is a good inventory of your systems. Many companies don't even have an inventory, an effective inventory of where their servers are, how the network is mapped, and how they're interconnected, and what defenses there are for each elements, and how they're segmented, each elements of that network. So the company, any organization should consider starting by ensuring that they know exactly what they have in-house. And for larger organizations that have built systems on top of systems, that may not be such an easy question for them to answer. Then you have to have processes and procedures in place. So the documentation needs to be there. The people who would be involved in a data breach need to understand their roles, and they need to be made aware of these policies and procedures, and they need to know what role they play when a breach, if and when a breach does occur. So the policies and procedures are very critical, and these can be reviewed periodically. Generally they're reviewed every year, but more frequently would be better, of course. And made sure they're kept up to date, and made sure that any new intelligence of potential dangers or risks to that company are incorporated within these documents. So this is the basic steps. These are the basic steps that the companies can start with. Then it goes into the testing phase, because yes, you may be aware of what you're trying to protect and you may have the documentation in place, but unless you test it, you don't really know whether it's going to work or not. So the first stage would be to say maybe have a tabletop type simulation exercise. And these are good ways of getting different partners to meet and talk about these issues ahead of what may be a real incident. Because the legal counsel, the chief risk officer, the head of IT, the head of cyber security, the head of physical security, the head of investigations, the head of HR, all these people may not talk about this topic necessarily on a day-to-day basis. They've all got their own busy worlds to deal with. But you bring them together in a tabletop exercise that goes through a simulation of a data breach and the impacts it may have from a reporting perspective, from customer communication, from a media communication, from all the different angles that you may have to deal with should a real breach occur. Then it means that these parties can get together and actually think, how will they cooperate amongst one another, who takes responsibilities for which aspect of the breach, and how they can work together effectively. And it's only by sitting down and testing this that you actually realize where the gaps may be. Then, of course, you can take this to an even more extreme testing by employing an external provider to come in and do penetration testing or red team testing to really assess whether the external defenses are strong and effective.